Hello everyone. So this is my first attempt at making a React project, ReactJS project. I'm using WebStorm for making this project, and this project is a very basic Hangman game. So I am going to show you guys how I went from the scratch to actually making the project in the real world. It's not yet done while at the time of shooting this video. I'll be developing the project and just putting the videos up here. So if you guys have any doubts, any things in this process, you can ask me. I'm most active on Instagram, but I will try and answer the questions in the comments as well. So I'm doing this fast forward, but I'll just give you a gist of what I'm doing. I'm using WebStorm by IntelliJ to make this project because I'm very familiar with this interface. I've been coding in Flutter using IntelliJ, and I'm making a very boilerplate code right now, and I'm using Tailwind CSS. I'll put the link in the description. It is basically a very light CSS framework. It gives you access to all the CSS classes, and as you can see, I think I'm just rushing through this part. What I'm trying to achieve is basically I want a background which has changing colors, in the sense like I want to change the background color from randomly, right? So just to give a nice look, and I'm using Notion for basically managing the project for as my task manager, you can think of it as. So I'm putting the tasks there, and then as the tasks are done, I'm moving them to the different columns. And you can see that I've added this CSS classes bg red 100 h screen. So it's just saying that okay, let me use the current background color as red, and the height of this window of my app will be as the height of the screen. And here I'm just trying to create a new folder which will basically, so think of it like I'm creating a new component in React now called background, or I'm going to call it main component. All this component will do is it will be like container for everything else in our project, right? So yep, I created a class, and then I'm going to extend to React component. So you can see like I'm very new to the React, and I just read the documentation. I have not seen any tutorial, I have not taken any course. All I'm trying to do is I'm just thinking how easy it is to do React app, right? uh, yeah, so let's see. But let me tell you, like I have a lot of experience with HTML, CSS and JavaScript in general. I've done Angular, so a lot of things like state management I understand. So that's why I'm able to pick up things very easily from documentation. So if you guys feel like I'm going very fast at any point, you can ask your doubts, feel free to ask. No doubt is too small. Okay, so I have set up the basic stuff, so let's see the output. Hey there, Arnav here. This is the main component. So you can see the main component has been reflected now, and now I'm going to write the code for which I'll be changing the background color. We need a constructor. This is me thinking. So I'm starting with the initial default color. It can be anything, you can choose any color. Okay, and that color we're going to give it to our background. Now I'm trying to investigate like why the color property is not being reflected. And you can see I made a very basic mistake. There is no color attribute, right? What I thought was maybe I'll use a color property, like change the back CSS color property. But then I realized I do have something in Tailwind CSS. We get this BG dash color name dash some code property, right? So there are a lot of colors available already. So if I can use them, it will be very easy for me, you know. So here also I'm trying to do the same CSS that I tried on app.js, but this is our main component. So I'm moving all the logic into the main component, and I'm trying to make the color lighter. So imagine that we have a list of colors, and all we need is to pick randomly any one color from the list. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm creating a list of colors, and then I'm going to pick any color randomly. Yeah, add more colors. Orange. Now I'm thinking of colors. Purple, pink. Okay. I should have done this before. I don't know why I didn't put it back to back, but bear with me. This is just very first tutorial that I'm recording. It's not a tutorial in the sense like I'm just recording the process that I followed, and this is the process that I follow generally for any app or any website that I'm developing. I have a Notion card, Notion list, and then I have a video. Oh, sorry, I code it using side by side. So it's easy to, if you break down the steps and then if you start coding, it's always easy. So always spend some time on planning. Don't underestimate the power of planning, but don't do too much of planning, you know. Okay, so we are now going to add transition property so that we can see smooth transition. So this CSS property allows you to change, so whatever property is going to change. So for example, if you are going to change colors, it will change with 500 millisecond delay, so it looks like it's animating. Nice animation you can see. So let's write the code to update the colors. So again, as I mentioned that I have some experience with JavaScript, so I know about these functions. So set timeout, I think this won't work. I will switch to set interval. So but this function, basically what we want to do is we want to run a piece of code after a particular interval, right? So here I am trying to figure out, and as I said, in WebStorm you get access to this documentation, so you don't have to Google it. I can just see it returns a random pseudocode between 0 and 1. So I'll multiply it with 100, I'll floor it, so I have a number between 0 to 100, 1 to 100. But now I want it between 1 to the length of the list, right? So I'll multiply with that. So I'm going to call it random index, and that random index will be, this is just for testing. I'm just logging the random index just to make sure that we are getting something. And now we can update the color with set state. Color we can set it to and pass the random index to colors varied list. And time for testing. Oh, I made a mistake. I need to put the timer. I know the problem is that I put a semicolon, which I'll realize eventually. Yep. Yep. So you can see this WebStorm also suggests us this timeout, and I mean says this tags state. So just like what are the parameters is required, and then I realize, oh, maybe I don't need set timeout. I should use set interval. So I'll switch to that. Okay, no need to change the code, and it will work. Okay, let's see, and you can see the color is changing and the project is all set up. Some tweaks with the time just to make sure that it doesn't look very, like, we don't want to change it very often. It's just for to give a nice background. Cool.